So, little change of plans. It's ended up being live and a little later than I thought, but as I mentioned, day 4 of 31 days of mental health awareness, I'm going to talk to you about how to pick up the signs of poor mental health or a shift into poor mental health. Now, I would love to be able to say to you what you're looking is for someone who's sad or, not quite working as well as they usually do, or doing, getting upset at things that they normally wouldn't get upset at, or crying a lot, or any of those things. But to be honest, that's not always the indicator. Sometimes the indicator can be that they're actually working harder, that they appear happier, that they look like they're getting more involved in things. And sometimes this can be the mask that we put on in order to cover up the fact that we know that something's not going right. The key to actually being able to pick up on a change in someone's mental health is generally by looking for changes in the way they would normally behave, which is why we can't make a judgment on somebody we don't know. Because if you don't know whether or not somebody's behaviour is normal, so it might just be that they're not particularly good with people, that they tend to be a little grumpy, they always have a tendency towards the negative side of things because they're that sort of personality that likes to try and figure out what will go wrong before they can figure out what's going to go right. And if you don't know the person well enough, then you don't know whether or not these things are just normal for them. What you need to do is know someone well enough to be able to pick what's not normal. When there's a change, when there's something, and it's not just a sometimes change, so, I've had a bad day, it's a bit rough, I'm feeling grumpy, that's a sometimes change. If it's, something that I'm normally very perky, very outgoing, very connected, but I'm withdrawing a lot more on a regular basis, then that's are you going okay at the moment? Is there anything I can do to help? I'm happy to just listen. Tell me whatever it is. I'm not here to judge or try to solve your problems. That's the sort of things that we're looking for when we know that something's slipping or something's not quite there. Because one of the hardest things about a change in your mental health status from good to not so good is that feeling that people are trying to solve your problems, trying to make things better. And we can't necessarily do that. All we can do is listen, and listen without judgment, without prejudice, and without a decision on how we believe we can make this better. And the number one thing you need to remember when you're talking to somebody that you think has major changes to the way their personality normally is, and you're trying to help them, is you cannot know what they're going through. Doesn't matter whether or not you've also had a parent die, or you've also been depressed in the past, or you've also been anxious about something. Nobody can know exactly what that individual is going through. All we can ever do is be there, listen without judgment or prejudice, and don't try to solve someone's problems unless they actually ask you for help. Otherwise, just listen. So the key to this is there is no one key thing that tells you that someone's mental health is changing from good to not so good. But if you know a person well enough, you can pick up on the changes in their personality and maybe just talk to them to see what might be going on. So I'm Maggie Georgopoulos, the author of Up the Ladder in a Skirt, and I work with businesses and clients around mental health and changing mental health culture. So I hope that you've got something out of today's mental health awareness tidbit and understand that at the end of the day, normal is individual. Each person has a different normal, and as long as you know what theirs is and can work with that and be willing to listen, then you can help.